I think in the future, for sure, we're gonna come back together. We'll come back, do the LMFAO hits, do our solo stuff.
After LMFAO's Redfoo and SkyBlu would team up to create two of the 21st century's most popular party tracks ever in Party Rock Anthem and Sexy and I Know It. After LMFAO would appear on stage at the Super Bowl halftime show alongside none other than Madonna. After LMFAO would announce their indefinite hiatus that has since turned into a pretty personal family feud between these two performers.
I think they were definitely pressuring him to say, yo, the brand is gonna suffer, y'all the biggest in the world, but if y'all take a hiatus now, or if y'all stop now, you know, so he continued touring and doing what he had to do to support the brand and things like that. But in doing that, that definitely even furthered me a little back.
Can you guys believe that it's already been a decade of party rocking? Back in the early 2010s, the iconic pop duo known as LMFAO basically catered every single house party you ever attended. And if Party Rock didn't play at least 3 or 4 times a night, a lot of people would go home disappointed. I was not one of them, however. LMFAO consisted of now 44-year-old Redfoo and 33-year-old SkyBlu, an uncle and nephew duo who had actually been working on music with one another for well over 6 years before finding success. But after striking gold with Party Rock Anthem and Sexy and I Know It, they would bring their working relationship to an end, and if what's happened since then is anything to go by, throw their familial relationship into turmoil as well. 4 years after the band called it quits, SkyBlu would accuse his uncle of abandoning him when he needed him most while dealing with a major injury, not to mention withholding his royalties from LMFAO. So how did what appeared to be the most carefree band in the world end up riddled in acrimony? You're about to find out. It was poppin', guys. Your boy Marlon Palmer. Recent drops in this series have included looks at Disaster Girl and Super Hot Fire, so if you enjoy those two, please check those out. Since this show works off request, don't forget to leave us some ideas with who you want next in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys after the intro. Redfoo was born Stefan Gordy and is the son of Berry Gordy, the famous founder of Motown Records. As such, Redfoo is entrenched in the music industry from an early age. His dad would introduce him to some of the biggest musicians in the world, which sparked Redfoo's interest in the family business, including a once-in-a-lifetime type run-in with the iconic Michael Jackson. Yes, that Michael Jackson.
And I just fell asleep. I don't really remember. My mom's like, he tucked you in and did all this stuff. I said, well, I don't know. I was knocked out.
That's hilarious.
Now as a youngster, Redfoo originally wanted to pursue a career in tennis, but a wrist injury while snowboarding would bring him back to his love for hip-hop. He began his career largely as a producer for other artists, people like Ahmad and the Black Eyed Peas, and then he'd release his first album alongside fellow rapper Drake Kroon in 1997 titled Balance Beam. It would still take Redfoo nearly 10 years for his big break to arrive when Will.I.Am introduced both he and his young cousin SkyBlu, whose real name is Skylar Gordy, to Interscope Records. Working together from that point on, Redfoo and SkyBlu dubbed themselves LMFAO and began building a local buzz through smaller venues and radio play. It would take them 2 years of work before they released their first album, Party Rock, in 2008, which featured singles like I'm in Miami and Shot, 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 Shot. Wait, is that Lil Wayne? Lil Jon. Brain fart. The album wasn't exactly a smashing success, but it did go certified gold and gained enough traction for LMFAO to release their follow-up album in 2011 titled Sorry for Party Rocking, an album that would feature their two biggest hits, Sexy and I Know It, and of course, Party Rock Anthem. Interestingly, according to Story of Song, the single that would turn LMFAO into a household name wasn't even written for them in the first place. In fact, it was written by producer Goon Rock for Flo Rida, but Redfoo and SkyBlu got their hands on it first, and we all thank God. We didn't know it at the time, but Party Rock Anthem's ultimate fate should have probably given us a clue as to what would happen with LMFAO as well. The song blazed brightly, only to burn out mercifully. It was officially awarded certified diamond status and is also the 6th biggest Billboard single of all time, but only months after performing with Madonna at the Super Bowl halftime show, LMFAO would disappear into the sunset forever. You gotta kind of, when it's a sunset, you gotta whisper, forever. Just gotta let it trail off. Why? Well, perhaps because their 4th single from the album stalled on the charts and it suddenly seemed as if the general music listening public was more or less done with these two. Many expected them to double down on their efforts and release new music, but then the unthinkable happened. The announcement of their indefinite hiatus. At the time, Redfoo told News.com, I feel like we've been doing this for so long, 5 or 6 years, and we're kind of like saying, well, let's just do what's natural and just kind of explore that instead of like forcing it all the time. From that point on, Redfoo and SkyBlu went their separate ways. Redfoo traveled to Australia, where he embarked on something of a solo career. He joined the panel for the Australian X Factor in 2013 and discovered newfound popularity. There, his single Let's Get Ridiculous shot straight to #1 on the national charts and went 4 times platinum. He even returned returned for a second stint on X Factor and released a follow-up single, New Thang, which peaked at number 3 on Australian charts. It seemed like his solo dream was coming true. But then he teamed up with other musicians like Plain Skills, Lil Jon, and Inertia McFly to release a track titled Literally I Can't, which was more or less the actual response from anyone who ever listened to the thing. The track suffered majorly from being labeled misogynistic, and just like that, Redfoo's career in Australia was over. He was booted from the next season of X Factor, and after being attacked at a local bar, he was as done with the land down under as they were with him.
I'm talking to some girls right here, and boom, I feel,
Redfoo returned to Hollywood and joined Dancing with the Stars for the 2015 season, but would find himself the first one to be eliminated.
I'm just happy that I got the chance, to dance.
He then finally debuted his solo album in 2016 titled Party Rock Mansion, but his record sales were pretty terrible. We're talking only selling around 144 copies in Australia terrible. Suddenly, Redfoo was looking for other ways to keep busy. Rightfully so. 144? He dabbled with the idea of returning to his first love of tennis after dating tennis player Victoria Azarenka for a hot second, and even found himself on the same court as tennis legend Serena Williams. And people, this is the life of the rich. I've never seen anything like this. This is a professional game.
Serena to win this point.
They stopped a match for him to just play around. Is this what being rich is? But he was far too old at this point for this to go anywhere in terms of a professional career as an athlete. And after breaking up with Victoria, Redfoo moved on to his current girlfriend, Jasmine Al-Khoury, a chef and road manager who now lives with him. These two have thoroughly embraced the vegan lifestyle and update their fans on social media platforms like Instagram and YouTube regularly with their daily lives and routine.
Because I want to be educated. I was eating honey and I was happily doing it when someone pointed out that honey is from a bee and that the bees are the animals and you can't eat the honey from the bee.
As for Redfoo's nephew SkyBlu, well, his story's a little more complicated. For the most part, he's kept a much quieter profile. He waited until 2013 to release his first solo project, unveiling a 9-track album titled Rebel Music that he gave away online to his fans for free. He followed that up with Chaos to Consciousness in 2017, which was received much more favorably from critics than any music Redfoo had released since their breakup. But if any of you are hoping for an LMFAO reunion anytime soon, then I've got bad news for you. Because despite how optimistic Redfoo might have appeared off the top of this video, these two have a lot of work to get through still. Back in 2017, SkyBlu posted a scathing letter on his Facebook page that he has since deleted that called his uncle's behavior and treatment of him into question. He revealed that the true reason the band went their separate ways stemmed from a back injury he incurred. He wrote on Facebook, "My back went out right before a big arena show in 2011. You went out and performed, but then just left on the tour bus without seeing me. In fact, you didn't speak to me after that for about a year, which is around the time you announced our hiatus. You even kept touring as LMFAO and made a lot of money doing it. I really loved you. I looked up to you, man, but the more successful we got, the more you wanted control." SkyBlu was understandably upset. As someone who deeply cared, loved, and always supported Redfoo, he felt like his uncle had turned his back on him. He went on to tell Redfoo that he had significantly damaged their brand with the release of his last album. This tirade apparently stemmed from the fact that on the eve of dropping his own newest release, SkyBlu was served with a letter from Redfoo's lawyers that stated he would be getting 0 LMFAO royalties. This was all compounded by the fact that Rick Ross had filed a lawsuit against LMFAO in 2013, stating that Every Day I'm Shufflin' was a ripoff of his lyrics Every Day I'm Hustlin', because duh. It would take 6 years for this lawsuit to work itself out and for the two parties to come to some form of settlement, the details of which have never been released. But during the process, Rick Ross revealed that Redfoo was holding up all the proceedings by keeping SkyBlu in the dark in regards to everything that was happening. All of this is to say that a once thriving family business has suddenly gone awry. And while LMFAO are no longer party rocking as a duo, they've always have a place in our hearts. Well, some of our hearts. As for the rest of the story, well, that's another video for another time and another place. After all, this is Where Are They Now? And you're all caught up with the recent history of LMFAO. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Before They're Famous so you can vote on who you'd like to see next. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.